Exploring the cultural significance of numbers. Have you ever considered the meaning of numbers in different countries? Numbers are not just digits. They hold significant cultural and traditional values in different parts of the world. In countries where Chinese is spoken, as well as in Japan, people think the number 4 is unlucky. This is because it sounds like the word for death. Many buildings in these places don't have a 4th floor. This is why the number is often skipped in the elevators of buildings. In contrast, the number 8 is believed to bring good luck and stands for prosperity in these cultures. Meanwhile, in Western countries, many think that the number 13 is unlucky, hence the term Friday the 13th. Some people also avoid having 13 guests at a table. On the other hand, the number 7 is often linked to good luck or perfection in Western cultures. This is likely because many important things are in sevens. Examples include the 7 wonders of the world and the 7 days of the week.
Hi everybody and welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Elsie.
Now, can we count to 10 in different languages? Do you think you can do that?
In Chinese, of course.
Okay.
In English, of course, too.
Can you do any others?
How about in Spanish?
Unos, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis. I forget 7.
I have no idea.
Okay. Un, deux, trois, quatre,
I only know
cinq,
uno,
six.
dos, tres.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, and done.
French is un, deux, trois, quatre, cinq, six, sept, neuf. Huit, neuf, dix.
Oh, and in Japanese,
Ichi, san. What's 4? I've forgotten 4.
I can go beyond 3.
I used to go to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
German?
9, 10. Yes, German. German's a bit easier. It's closer to English. But anyway, we can try that. But in some cultures, numbers have more meaning than other numbers. And in some cultures, different numbers mean good or bad things. Let's explore this by reading through our article. It starts by asking, have you ever considered the meaning of numbers in different countries? And you should, because, as the article points out, numbers are not just digits.
今天看到第一个字呢是 digit， 好，这个名词啊代表的是0到9中的任一个数字，所以 numbers are not just digits. What does that mean?
Well, it just means, they're not just things we use for working out how much something cost or which part of the street we're on or house numbers or anything. As the article points out, they hold significant cultural and traditional values in different parts of the world. Something that's significant usually is either very important or it has a special meaning that only some people understand or only some people believe. So in the UK, certain numbers have more of a meaning, and you could say certain birthdays have more of a meaning. In some countries, 15, that's really important in like Mexico and some Latin American cultures. But in the UK, it's more like 18, and in the US, maybe 21 is a bit more important because it's the age when you can do a few more things. So you might say, for example, Joe's 18th birthday was a significant moment for him because he could start to learn how to drive.
Significant 这个形容词呢是重要的或是具有特殊意义的，所以啊 a significant moment 代表就是一个重要的时刻。那名词特殊意义我们说的是 significance. So numbers hold significant cultural and traditional values.
That's right. And here by value, we don't mean how much something costs or how important something is. This is values plural, which means the principles and beliefs that kind of influence and affect the behavior, the way of life in a particular group or community. The best way to think about this is how what's important to you now might be different from what's important to you later in life, or what you believe in is very different from what your parents or particularly your grandparents might believe in. Their values include certain things that yours don't, and vice versa. So you might say, my grandparents have very different values from me and other people from my time.
values 你会看到这边是复数形，好，代表的是价值观哦。所以刚刚例句说的是呢，这个我的祖父母跟我的价值观是很不一样的。那如果你把字尾的 s 去掉 value 这个名词，好，不可数的名词，代表的是价值，那形容词会是 valuable， 也就是把字尾改成able， 好，那这个形容词就会是珍贵的、有价值的。那可以用来形容什么呢？像是有形的珠宝、无形的时间、回忆、经验，都可以用 valuable 来形容。
So let's look at some examples of this. The article says, in countries where Chinese is spoken, as well as in Japan, people think the number 4 is unlucky.Okay, that one I know. I know that superstition. I've lived in Taiwan long enough for that. Now, in that sentence, we also saw the phrase as well as, which just means the same as and or also. And of course, if you've lived in Taiwan for maybe about a couple of months, you'll learn this. The article says, this is because it, the number 4, sounds like the word for death.
是的，就是4。跟死很像。
Yeah, it's a lot of things I find in Chinese and as well Japanese. It's homophones or homonyms, words that sound the same if you mispronounce them and stuff. So this is why you'll see, as we say in the article, many buildings in these places, Chinese-speaking countries in Japan, many buildings in these places don't have a 4th floor.So, yeah, apartments, I would notice, hospitals.
Older apartments, I guess.
More modern ones, it doesn't seem to be the case.
对的，所以在比较老旧的大厦，你会看不到4楼。
I think hospitals definitely. But again, I've seen it in some. It seems to sort of depend on who built the hospital and what, because some are a bit more Christian and some are different beliefs, so...It depends. But what we do know, as the article says, this is why the number is often skipped in the elevators of buildings. You go into the lift or the elevator, you won't see the number 4. It's skipped. To skip means to leave out something that would normally be the next thing in line that you would do or read. So you read 1, 2, 3, 5... Oh, they skipped 4. Okay, they jumped over it. You might say, for example, I often skip this song when I listen to the band's new album because I don't really enjoy it. You just press that button which jumps to the next song, the skip button.When
you skipped something, 那就代表你去略过或是跳过某个东西。那如果是翘课，好，翘掉一堂课，略过一堂课，那就是 skip the class。那在课文里面呢，它用的是被动，所以我们说呢，4，好 ，number 4，它常常被跳过，在哪边被跳过呢 ？In the elevators of buildings.
And an elevator, of course, is...It's a moving platform. It's a box that goes up and down and lets people on and off at each floor. In the UK, we call it a lift. So if you go to the UK, if you say, where's the elevator? You might, people, what? Oh, you mean the lift. It's round there. So do remember that different words get used sometimes. You might say, for example, the elevator in my apartment building isn't working today, so I'll have to take the stairs.Elevator
指的就是电梯，那在英式英文当中用的是 lift, L-I-F-T。那这样子的电梯呢，就可以直上直下的那一种。那如果你坐的是像捷运或是百货公司里面的手扶梯，好，它叫做 escalator， 它是不一样的。
Yeah, but in the UK we use the same word. We don't call it moving stairs or something strange like that. So that's the number 4. But then in the article we see...In contrast, the number 8 is believed to bring good luck and stands for prosperity in these cultures.
In contrast 或是 by contrast 代表就是相比之下，相较之下。Number 8, 8号，好。第8号这个数字 stands for prosperity in our culture. 那 prosperity 它指的就是繁荣、富庶。What about in Western countries?Well,
we've just got a different set. But I'm just thinking, that's why a lot of people want 8 in their phone number and on their car number and motorcycle number plate and stuff, right?
Do you know what 8 means in
Luck,
Chinese?
Gold.
And money.
Money.
Yeah.
Okay, there
Always
we go.
about money.
So, Western cultures, that's a good question, and that's what the article moves on to. It says, meanwhile, in Western countries, many think that the number 13 is unlucky. Hence the term Friday the 13th, that day that you really don't want to have because bad stuff happens. Now, this sentence started with the adverb meanwhile, and it could mean that two things are happening at the same time, but you can also use it like here, to compare two things. We often use it if we're comparing two things that are completely different and saying, okay, so like Elsie likes this, but meanwhile Pat likes this. Somebody likes this kind of movie, meanwhile somebody else likes this kind of movie. So if they're happening at the same time, that's another way you can use it. I did this, meanwhile somebody else did this. Let's look at an example using a comparative. Coffee from Starbucks is very expensive. Meanwhile, coffee from 7-Eleven is cheaper, but not quite as good.
Meanwhile 这个副词呢，代表的是用于强调两种同时发生的情况差异，所以你会在它的前后看到两件事在做比较。那再来呢，还有一个字是 Western， 它的字首是大写的。
Yeah, if you see the word Western with a lowercase small w, it just means the bit on the west. Western Taiwan, Western whatever country, and so on. But when you see it with this big letter W, the capital letter, it means more like culturally. And it means the Western Hemisphere, and we generally think of it meaning the US, Canada, Western Europe, and we mean it in a cultural sense, as in things that are believed there, the way that things are done there, the kind of people who live there. I would be a Western person or Westerner. Here's an example sentence using it this way. In Western countries, people don't think it's strange to drink ice water on hot days.
But here we always drink warm water, huh?
Yep. Not always. I think it's different for different people. But...
Right. So Western 这个字呢，它是形容词。那如果你看到它的字首是大写的话呢，那它代表的是西方国家的，有指欧美的。好，那如果是小写 Western， 那就代表西方的，好，西边的。那其他的方位还有像东方的东边的 Eastern， 好，北方北边的Northern， 南方南边的那就是 Southern。 那再来还有一个字是 hence， 好，这个副词代表的是因此所以或是由此。所以我们的课文说到呢，因为在西方国家中认为13是不吉利的，所以才会有 Friday the 13th 的这个说法，也就是中文说的黑色星期五。
So we see an example here. Some people also avoid having 13 guests at a table. And like a lot of things, this goes back to religion. Where was there an important meal with 13 people there? Jesus' Last Supper. And that's the one where he got arrested and ended up dying. So
最后的晚餐那幅画。
Yeah, that's one reason why 13 is considered unlucky. And then we see, on the other hand, the number 7 is often linked to good luck or perfection in Western cultures. So that's the good number for us, or one of the good numbers. Now, this sentence includes our language in focus, so let's take a moment to check that out now.
今天的 Language in Focus 要讲到的是 on the other hand 的这个副词片语。那这个副词片语啊，表示另一方面，那它可以单独使用，也可以伴随 on the one hand 来出现，引导两个相反或是不同的概念。所以有的时候你在文章中会看到这一组同时出现，好，就是 on the one hand 还有 on the other hand。那有的时候呢，你在文章中只会看到 on the other hand 出现。那给同学们一个例句哦， On the one hand, he's a nice and kind guy. On the other hand, he's a bit lazy. 好，代表一方面呢，他是个亲切的好人，另外一方面他有点懒惰。所以你在看到这样子用法出现的时候，它会带出两个相反不同的概念。那如果你要把它放在同一句使用的话，那你要用分号或是连接词来连接，但是要小心这个句子不要过长了。
So in that last sentence, we also saw the phrase be linked to. The number 7 is often linked to good luck or perfection. If something is linked to something else, it's connected to it. It's joined with it in some way. Now, it could be physically, like this part of the machine is linked to that part, or this organ of the body is linked to that part, but we also use it to mean the ideas are connected, and that's how we mean it here. But why is this? The article says, this, meaning why is 7 a good luck number? This is likely because many important things are in sevens. And we see the next sentence. Examples include the 7 wonders of the world and the 7 days of the week. And again, it goes back to religion. God created the world in 7 days. That is the Christian Jewish creation story. People say that like hell has 7 circles. If you want to read Dante's The Divine Comedy, there are a lot of religious sevens in there that you can look at. And that sort of religion does mean, or it does inform a lot of the lucky and unlucky numbers in Western culture. Now, we are going to have some more lucky and unlucky numbers in different cultures in tomorrow's part 2 of the article. But right now, let's chat about some of these ideas with today's For You chat question, which is, do you avoid the number 4 in your life? Why or why not? So I'll give this one to you since you're Taiwanese and therefore more likely to have the superstition.
But I think our generation don't really care about this.
Okay.
Yeah, it's more our parents' generation's thing.
Okay.
So I don't really avoid the number 4 in my life. But if I have, for example, too many 4s in my phone number, I'll feel it's a bit strange.
Okay. Is it the sort of thing that you had it when you were growing up, but you hit a certain age and you're like, okay, I'm going to put that aside now?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, I live on the 4th floor of my building.
Yeah, I used to live on the 4th floor too.
The only thing that bothers me about that is the stairs, because
there
is no elevator, to use another word from today's article. But weirdly, it's the 3rd floor because I'm British. Because we don't have, we say the 1st floor is the ground floor. So I say I live on the 3rd floor.
Oh, okay.
But in Taiwan, it's the 4th floor.
Yes.
So if I think about it that way, that's one less set of stairs.
What about you? Do you avoid, let's say, 13 in your life?
Nah, none of that bothers me. I'm not superstitious in terms of numbers. But we'll maybe come back to that question for tomorrow. But that's all we got time for today. Thanks very much for listening, everyone. For English For You, I'm Pat.
I'm Elsie.
And we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Vocabulary Review.
Significant. Chocolate is a significant part of this cake. Without it, the cake would taste completely different. A national flag is a symbol that can have significant cultural meaning. It represents a country's identity and culture. Values. People from different cultures have different values and beliefs that shape their way of life. Skip. This book has many chapters, but I usually skip the last chapter because I don't like it. Elevator. Does your building have an elevator, or will you have to carry these boxes up the stairs? Meanwhile. Peter is on a great vacation. Meanwhile, I'm stuck at the office. It's not fair. Western. Most European countries are considered Western, but some, such as Turkey, are not.
智慧小补帖
Digit. In contrast. By contrast. Prosperity. Hence.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net